Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Velasquez Blog Show. My name is Jeffrey Velasquez, your host, and today we're going to talk about three things in how we as Hispanics see this in society. The first one is going to be work versus education. The second one is going to be social media versus how we see the press. And third is going to be gender inequality. But before I start, I want to thank all my police officers, firefighters, veterans, active duty and reserve military members, Border Patrol, Homeland Security, FBI, CIA, DEA, ATF, and Special Ops teams, wherever they might be around the world. Thank you guys for making the huge sacrifice, for keeping our country safe, and for keeping our democracy secure. Without this, there will be a lot of things that are happening in our nation at this moment that will not be happening in peace. And yes, this is peace. Even if you see riots and buildings on fire in the media, in the news, because it will be worse if this was another country. Believe me. So this is the best country to be in if you guys want to change politics and want to change the way the system works. Now, enough of that, and let's get to it. As Hispanics, how do we see education? Education versus work. I don't know if you a Hispanic that's economically stable, that has education. I don't know if you come from family that has had education and financial stability through generations, from generations through generations, right? Um, we can have two different debates depending on where the point of view is coming from. You come from a working class, lower class family, you know that their entire life, they have busted their ass just to, be able to survive and just provide for their family. No political influence, is all being from their sweat and and their blood, and pretty much just from from their hard work, right? How do you see education as a Hispanic person? Do you see it as do you see that do you feel that education is more important than work, or do you think work is more important than education? If you had to choose between one or the other, which one would you choose? Would you choose to go to school and live under a bridge because there is no money on the table? Or would you rather work and put aside education until that time comes, which the risk is that it might never come? And you might think, well, it all depends on the situation. Of course, it all depends on the situation. For example, if you're a male Hispanic and your family was going through hardship, or even a female, um, Hispanic, and your family was going through such an economic hardship, what would you do? Would you stay in school and continue your studies while your family is having a hard time uh, remaining economically stable? Or would you get out of school and support them, to make sure that they're safe and make sure they have a roof over their head? So those are the things we're gonna be discussing today. I'll try not to take a long time on each topic because there's three things that I want to discuss. But if I think, and the way I see it from the social aspect is that if you're a male and you have good stability, your family comes from a middle class family or high class family, that obviously has financial resources to be able to continue your education, I think that you'll be in peace. I think you'll go to school just fine without worrying about your family being in economic struggles. In the other hand, I think if you're a male who know that comes from a single mom or a single dad, and you know that they're going through such a hard time trying to keep up with the bills and their way of life, I think you will prioritize that as well. Well, you're gonna be like, wait a minute, how can I afford to go to school in peace and still make sure that my family, is safe and has a roof over their head, right? And I'm not talking about, for example, like I know there are kids out there, I know there are people out there that can do both. But as a male, you have this social pressure that if you don't have any money, that if your family is in need of your support, you're gonna have to make a choice, because a part-time job is not gonna cut it. A full-time job will cut it, but then you're gonna have to go to part-time at school, and you're still gonna be able to, or you might actually drop out for a bit. You never know. So, and a woman can go through the same thing. A woman can go to school and drop out of school to help their family out. But most likely this happens in the male gender. When it comes to making a tough decision, leave school or go to work. And I know people that had done both, provide for their family and go to school full time. I can include myself in that category, but it wasn't easy. It was tough, and if I had to give up something, it will always be school, because at that moment, school wasn't paying my bills. You know, so and my route was probably different than other people's route. Thankfully, because of my military background and my military benefits, I was able to go to school and provide for my family at the same time. But for people who don't have those benefits, for people who didn't earn that privilege, they have it way more tougher. So, what would you choose, work or school? You can choose both, but you can never do both at the same rate, right? Eventually you're gonna be able to succeed, but it's always a good observation to make when it comes to making choices like that. The second thing is the press and social media. Oh man, I've since I opened my social media once I graduated from college, I noticed that a lot of people get influenced by the press and social media, and without doing any background, with any homework, any research, you know, eh, any collective of evidence, to persuade you into believing what's really happening out there, whether it's political, whether it's financial, or spiritually. You know, um, how do we know the press? It's informing the right agenda. How do we know social media is posting the entire story of what happens in our society or what happens in our community, right? How do we know the real story? How do we get informed properly about how the decisions that our lawmakers are making and that the local authorities are making are for our best interest? Not just as Hispanics, but in general, we have, local officials, state officials, and federal officials who are making decisions for us. How do we know which decisions are right and which ones are not? Do we have the press, the Spanish press, or the American press? Do we have them informing us for our best interest, or just to put fire into into more fire into the fire that's already out there, to the chaos that's happening, right? Sometimes we need to take initiative as individuals and decide for ourselves, and I know it's hard, because I know there's us as minorities, as Hispanics. I know that most of us don't have that proper education to be able to pick the best information possible for our best interest. But we have to think about our lifestyle. All right. I think that if we know what our lifestyle is, we know how to be able to detect and acknowledge what information is slightly correct, if not more correct than incorrect, because now no information filtered through media, social media, and press sources is gonna be 100% accurate. There's always gonna be some kind of glitch. There's gonna be some kind of, manipulative extra information that probably will manipulate your way of thought, because that's what the media does. But when there is a story, when there is a breakout, and you don't know what to do and you panic, the first thing we do is listen to the authorities and our local press. Um, and I get it, sometimes when you don't know what to do, you don't know what's happening, you don't know what's going on. Um, that's what you lean into. You lean into those sources to help out. But but I hope that whenever this is happening, you don't believe everything you see or hear in the news, and use your personal judgment as well. If you know there are people that are trying to make a difference, and the Spanish media is speaking garbage about that certain group or individual, you should be like, wait a minute, this guy is trying to do something right. This girl is trying to fight for justice. Why is the Spanish media? Why is the Spanish organizations trashing this individual? Like, I wouldn't do that, right? Like, you wouldn't do it, right? So why would you? So, like I said, if you believe that person or that organization is fighting for the right cause, then that's what you believe because you're seeing it. But then other people don't. They get influenced by the media, and then they don't see what's really happening, right? So just let that sink in, you know. And then the last one that is very controversial, and a lot of people might disagree with my point of view on this, is gender inequality. Gender inequality. As Hispanics, do we believe there is gender inequality in our culture? I think so. Um, I think there is. I think that women they still don't get paid like men. I think that women are still put in doubt, even from our culture as men. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the term machismo, right? Machismo. I think it still exists today, not just in our culture here in the United States as Hispanics, but in our countries as well. Especially in our countries in areas where there's not a lot of education, right? Where there's a lot of poverty. Um, and machismo, it can be interpreted in many ways, like in violence. Machismo can be widely explained. It can be widely performed in many ways, physical and verbal abuse, right? But gender inequality, I think it happens a lot more than we think of and than what we see in our daily lives. I think that we don't see it as much, maybe because in this country, there is more opportunity for everyone to work and to earn and yada, 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 go to school, follow your dreams as where you want to work, what you want to be. And in this country, there's a lot of liberty in the United States. And so it's hard to see that gap. The gap exists, and if you know what I'm talking about, if you faced it, if you are going through it at this moment, you know what I'm talking about. Um, but gender inequality should be from all directions, not just the opportunity for women to go do work that men do, not just for the opportunity for women to go into political office or go into academic institutions and make a difference, right? I think it should be all the way around as well, such as responsibilities, such as the same, I guess, standards as the guys have when it comes to financial responsibilities, emotional responsibility, and if I want to include relationship, responsibilities. So, you know, I think gender inequality should be adjusted to the point where like men and women don't feel that gap or don't face that gap, because we should work as a team. I think that if we accept as Hispanic men, we accept that women can too. It'll be so much easier for women to be able to believe that in our culture things are changing, and it's for the better of things. It's not our. I don't think it's our duty and our job to judge the capabilities of a woman. I think that we have to observe and see what they're capable of doing. Uh, for example, I know I met women that do a lot more things than men do in the military. I know women that are stronger than men. I know women that are smarter than men, and I know women that can outrun any man at any time. Um, but the thing is that happens in both genders. You got women that are better than other women. You got men that are better than other men. But the idea here is to give both genders the same opportunity to do the same things. Am I saying that the woman can go under the sun and work construction all day without losing endurance and performance? Uh, of course they can. They'll lose it faster than a man would, because, they have that biological differences. So, of course, they're gonna suffer more than the guy. But at the same time, at least that opportunity is given. Let him make that choice, right? And shit, even we as Hispanics, even as males, we compete against each other. You can just imagine how the competition would be once you give females a better opportunity to take those jobs that men are fighting each other for, right? And it's all about pride and ego. I think also us as Hispanic males, we have that pride not to lose our position, especially when it comes to a woman, because we don't want to feel inferior to women. And maybe that is the pride that we as men don't want to face. And in this country, in the United States, I think it is the best country to actually to women to stand up and go do things that you've been told in your culture that you cannot do. Because I know as Hispanics we come from cultures where like women have a hard time reaching certain heights in the economic and the private sector when it comes to work. So I hope in the workforce. So I hope that things change for the better when it comes to women, and I hope that we as men we get a little bit more understanding. We I don't want to say get sensitive about it, but be more open minded that women want to be independent as well. And yes, women have it tough already because they have to deal with the mother penalty. It's called the mommy penalty. Pretty much that's whenever a woman is pregnant, the intensity decreases dramatically because now it's all about taking care of that baby. And that's where they lose energy, and that's where they lose health, and that's where they lose the chance to maintain a stability in the workforce. So props to those women that are trying to make it out there in the workforce, and that also are single moms, and they're doing everything they can to survive and to provide for their kids, because it's not easy. They're sacrificing their time, their life, their energy to raise kids. And I'm not saying only mothers. Fathers do their part too. If you are a responsible father, if if you've been there, then then you've been there. If you haven't been there, then that's the reason why Mother's Day is a bigger day than Father's Day. It's because we earned that. We earned that place, and not to be appreciated for what we do. But I know there's a lot of fathers, including myself, that have been there for their kids their entire life, and they will always be there. But us as Hispanics, we know we have dropped the ball. Um, some of us, not all of us, some of us have dropped the ball when it comes to parenting. And I'm not gonna go ahead and blame, because at the end of the day, I feel it's all about education. If you didn't get that proper education from your father, from your grandfather, from your grandmother, or whatever, how can we expect it? How can I expect it? How can you expect it? How can anyone expect you to do it right? It happens. If you didn't do it right, you just didn't do it right. But if you know you had good parents, and and you were just like, you know what, then I did fuck up, I should have done it. Then you did fucked up and you should have done it, right? But I'm not here to judge or criticize. But if you could have made better choices, then there you go. You just you can always try again. There's always an opportunity to make up. And I'm sure most of the first time parents, they made those mistakes. They made those mistakes, and now they're not doing it anymore. Now they got their shit together, and now they're providing for their family, and they're there for their kids. Um, well, anyways, that was all I wanted to talk about in today's vlog show. Please, on the comment section, write down your comments if you feel like there was something you don't agree with, or if you say I agree with you 100%, or you know what, you forgot to talk about this. Trust me, I want to keep talking. I could go all day talking about things that we as Hispanics see and that we face every day. But this is the only 3 things I wanted to talk about because of time purposes. Trust me, there's just so much to talk about, and we will talk about more topics and more things as we move along. And I want to thank you guys so much for watching my blog. Once again, please put down your comments down below, your opinions, and anything you want to say about the vlog. And when you do that, you have an opportunity to win this Coke with your name. It's a cute little thing. You can drink it, or you can save it as a souvenir. This is the giveaway that I'm giving tonight. I will do a raffle, and whoever wins it, they take it. I'll DM you guys if you win, and I'll just ask you for your information about where to ship it. And thank you once again, guys, for all the support you have given me. Without you guys, I would not be doing this, and it's been a long journey. But at least we're here, and we're here to show motivation to all my Hispanics and to everyone who is listening. Before I go, I just want to tell you that whatever you decide to do in your life, don't wait for others to believe in you. Don't try to don't try to get your ideas approved by the entire world around you to take them into action. Just go ahead and do it. You have to believe in yourself. Believe that you want to be the change. Believe that you want to change. Believe in the change you want to make, and take action. Because if you don't believe in it, I can guarantee you nobody will. So if it doesn't matter how small or how big something is, as long as you believe in it and you get it done, that's how you start. You start with the little things, and you're gonna do more and more and more and more. Next thing you know, you're gonna be in a very high position that you never thought you could be, because you started with that discipline and believing in yourself. So whether you're a guy or whether you're a woman, never stop believing, because you'll never know how much you can get done once you start. You guys have a great day. Have a great weekend. And I can't wait to post another blog for next week. Next Friday, every Friday, I'll be posting blogs. I'm still looking for a co-host. Well, I think I found one, but we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully they come through. I can't wait for her to join the team. She's really excited about it, so I'm excited too. So until I see it, I'll believe it. If you want to be a guest, very important. If you want to be a guest, DM me, and I'll bring you into the show. We'll coordinate it, and it can be live here, or it can be through Zoom, like I did it on the first day. Okay, guys, that's it. That's all I have. You guys have a great weekend.